Thank you, Mr. President and members of the body. And I do rise in support of this proposed amendment. And let me explain why. I do believe that we should amend the Constitution very carefully in Nebraska, and that's why we leave it to a vote of the people to do it, so that we don't have free reign here just to amend as we see fit. So we're putting this before the people for a vote. And I think what Senator Persch was alluding to is that the state constitution does cover a lot more topics and go into a lot more detail than maybe the federal constitution, the U.S. Constitution does, and rightly so. Article 1, Section 28 establishes crime victim rights in certain ways, surely important. Section 29 bans same-sex marriage. Section 30 seems to ban some racial preferences. Article 3, Section 14 mandates our bills be read. Article 4, Section 20 sets up the Public Service Commission. Those of you who thought maybe that was a statutory creature, no, it's in our Constitution. Article 7, Section 2, the State Department of Education is set up. Article 7, Section 3, the State Board of Education is set up. Article 7, Section 10, the Board of Regents is established, which is probably why we didn't weigh in on wrestling and football very much, because we have a Board of Regents in our Constitution that makes those decisions. Article 8, Section 10 provides that grain and seed may be taxed by an alternative basis. And Article 15, Section 19, if I'm reading my Roman numerals correctly, deals with local control to some extent of liquor licenses. These are all items that are currently in our Constitution. And it would be a mistake to stand up and say any one of them is trivial. It would be a mistake to say this proposed amendment is trivial. And we make that mistake sometimes. All of us do reflexively. If it's not something that is important to us, all too often we say, you know, oh, why does anybody care about this? Or it's important but not important enough for the Constitution. I have to disagree in this instance. Earlier there was a reference to the roadside trapping and the protracted debate we had a couple years ago on roadside trapping. Well, why did we have that protracted debate? Because some prior legislature outlawed on select file roadside trapping in ditches, in public right-of-ways, if memory serves. And surely we would think no future legislature would outlaw hunting or do anything that would be negative regarding hunting, but there we did it. We outlawed trapping. And we heard the arguments on the floor, you know, why do we care about this? Why are we bringing this repealer bill? This is a silly bill. Why do we care about this enough to repeal the ban on roadside trapping? Well, the reason for me was very simple, because there were a group of people out there who enjoy that thing, not me, but some, and I couldn't think of a good reason to stop them. Someone obviously did have a good reason to try to stop them, and so a couple of years prior, on select file, without hearing, an amendment was added to ban roadside trapping in right-of-ways. That actually happened. And now we're being told, well, there's not a specific enough threat to hunting and fishing in Nebraska yet that we're premature in acting at this point. I don't believe that to be the case. And I don't see where this does harm to our other priorities, and I don't see where this is something that is not worthy of this level of protection. This amendment does not say
1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment does not say you must fish or you must hunt. And I don't know if a majority of Nebraskans do anymore. I honestly don't know the answer to that. But I'm glad the ones that do. And I want them to keep on doing it, and I want us to have a clear statement, I guess, that this is one of our priorities. And I think it is important enough that it does rise to the level of a constitutional amendment if the voters of this state so decide. Again, coming back to that, if the voters of this state so decide. So I do rise in support of the underlying amendment, and constitutional amendment, I should say, and I'd appreciate your support as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Lautenbaugh. Senator Schills, you're recognized.